Hello, friends. How are we doing? Welcome back to the Position to Prosper podcast. I'm your host, Erica Pyle. And today we're going to be talking about how to go from behold to build right now, like that. So this month, actually. So I just want to give a second to just let some of our people who are wanting to come on live be able to come with us. You know, we've been doing these YouTube recordings of the podcast for a few weeks now. And I got to tell you, I absolutely love doing the podcast recording this way. I don't know. I like the live stream aspect of it. I like having people be here live and be able to comment and interact. It's just something that I really love. And also I feel like the quality of the audio, if you are listening on the podcast platform, so wherever you're listening, I believe that the audio that I give is so much better when I'm recording in the video sense, because I'm just animated. I realize that some of you are wanting to have this kind of face-to-face interaction. So I sent out an email to my subscriber list today and just reminding them that I was going live at 3:00 today. And I said, just grab yourself a cup of coffee, a cup of tea. I've got some tea in here, and let's just chat. Let's have a little biz ministry chat. I call it businessry. So the girls that are in my mentorship community, we've called it the business tree for quite some time now. I understand that if you're new to me, you might be like, what is that? When it comes to faith-based stuff, when it comes to building a kingdom business or ministry, especially if it's a kingdom business, I can almost guarantee you that a piece of what you're doing in your business is a ministry, because you're doing it unto the Lord. And so, we call it a business tree. So I want to have a little business tree conversation with you. Now, if you've been here the last few weeks, you know we're in the middle of a series, and we've been working through a blueprint, the Dream to Do blueprint. And so I started this off with a podcast episode 3 weeks ago, that was how to go from dream to do. It's a simple 3-step strategy for getting going on building that business or that ministry that God has been speaking to you about, and you just haven't gotten going yet, right? So it's this simple 3-step strategy. And so 3 weeks ago, we got into the intro of it. And if you haven't gotten a copy of it yet, it's free. So I would just say go get it. It's so simple to grab a hold of it. Just go to ericapyle.com/dream to do. And it's this little 8-page PDF. Okay. And it's so helpful. And so the first week we went through the first step, which was basically to brain dump your vision. So whatever the Lord has spoken to you, whatever you have in your heart, whatever you are wanting to build with and for God, it gives you this place to brain dump all the different things that you know. And the premise behind it was, look, we're just going to do this brain dump one more time. We're going to get out of the planning and dreaming and visioning phase, and we're going to start moving into the do phase. But in order to do that, we've got to get that vision down on the page. We got to get it detailed, and we just got to get it all out. And so I asked you 8 different questions in that section in step 1. And I told you, get a notebook and go ahead and fill that all out. Okay. Because these little boxes on the worksheet are so small. Then on the second week, we went on a little detour because I wanted you to be able to have some information that you were going to need for step 2. So on week 2 of the series, we talked about who do you serve? And we talked about how do you define who it is that you serve. And I really talked a lot in that episode about why do you want to know? Why do you want to define who it is that you serve? And I talked about how even churches should know who they serve, that even Jesus had an ideal person when he started his ministry that he was serving. I mean, he said it. He said, I came to serve, the children of Israel. And he told a couple people, you don't fit that people group. And then they exhibited faith. And he said, now you're in, right? So that concept of saying, I'm going to speak to one group of people, one person, and if other people come along because they so much want what I have to offer, that's fine. but it helps us to know who we're speaking to and who we're offering to, because we want to talk in their language. We want to be able to talk about their pain points, their dreams, their desires, their problems, and specific solutions for them. And so we took a week to deep dive into who do I serve? How do I define that person? How do I identify and define and speak to that person? And so I gave you an extra little worksheet called the Who Do I Serve worksheet. And you can find that at ericapile.com/who I serve. Again, free worksheet. Go for it. And then last week, week three, we stepped into talking about step 2, which is the basics checklist. And so I talked to you about the 5 basic building blocks that every online business or ministry needs if they want to be successful. That these were the 5 building blocks that any successful online business or ministry have going for them. And so we walked through those last week. So if you have the worksheet and you downloaded it, you can see those 5 basic building blocks in the checklist, and you can listen to last week's episode, and I walked you through those. Okay. Then I introduced step 3, which is step 3 is the beginning blueprint. And so what we did was I said, okay, now you're going to take those 5 building blocks and you're going to determine for your business or ministry, what tasks do you need to complete in each of those 5 categories of building blocks? So, just to kind of go over it briefly, it's defining your offer, gathering your audience, getting your offer in front of your audience, knowing, having a way of getting paid, of receiving payment for what you're offering, and then a great way to deliver excellently on your offer. Okay. So those are the 5 building blocks. And then I said, all right, now step 3, let's do a basics checklist of what are you going to do next? Okay. Now, today we're going to be talking about how do you go from behold to build right now. And I know it. I know that someone's going to be like, Erica, you just told us that where we started was you did a podcast on how to go from dream to do. How do I go from behold to build any different from going from dream to do? Erica, help me out. How is this not the same exact podcast? Listen, sister, I'm so glad that you noticed. I'm so glad that you noticed that what we're going to be talking about today is very similar to where we started. Do you want to know why that's really good of you to notice? Because here's something that I know about my girls. Here's something that I know about the girl that I serve. Here's something that I know about me and where I was and what it took for me when I was going from dream to do, from behold to build. Okay, listen up real quick. We're the kind of girls like this because I serve ambitious, multi-passionate, want to do all the things, Jesus girls. They're generational breakers. They're, audacious sound makers. They want to feel fulfilled in their purpose and do all the things without burning out, without compromising on their faith, their family, their health, their sanity. And yet, they're looking for how do I get started? And a lot of times they get stuck in that visioning, that planning phase. And so it's like, okay, I want to get started. So here's what I know about us. Listen. So you probably heard the topic of that podcast a few weeks ago, how to go from dream to do. And you were like, oh, this is what I need. She gets it. I have a dream. I have a plan. I have something that's germinating up in there, and I have all these ideas about it, and I just I so want to do it, but I can't find the time, or I don't know this, or I don't know. So okay, she's gonna talk to me about how to do it, how to go from dream to do. I need that. And there's a workbook. There is a mini workbook. I love a PDF. I love a downloadable. Tell me where to get it. Tell me where I'm gonna get it. And you said crisp notebook. Say no more. I'm going to get my crisp notebook. I'm going to get my favorite pen. Do you guys have favorite pens? Can I show you my favorite pens? Flair felt tip. Look at that. I love them in all the colors. I have a whole bag of them. Look, got a whole bag of them. I just love the felt tip. And I go through them so fast. I'll wear this pen out within 2-3 weeks because I'm just writing. And I just have to buy a new set of them every now and then. Although I wind up getting left over a lot of yellow and pinks and oranges that I don't use all of. I don't know why they give you so many different shades of pink and orange and even yellow. I'm like, I use the bright yellow ones as my highlighters for my Bible and for different reading that I'm doing. But then there's like this goldenrod type color. It's really pretty. But I can't take notes with it. So sometimes I'll take notes in books with it. But the orange is so aggressive and there's so many pinks. So I wind up donating a lot of them to my kids' schooling and stuff like that. But anyway, we're off on a little tangent. So maybe you were that girl. You were like, oh, she's going to tell me how to go from dream to do. There's a freebie. There's a workbook. I'm going to get a journal, a notebook, a fresh new notebook. She's going to walk me through the process. I'm so excited, right? And so then you go there and you download the workbook, you get your journal, commence note taking. You start listening to the episodes. You're so excited that it's a series. If you're like me, you're like, it's a series. It's not all going to be in one thing. Like I have like a little bit. I can think, I can dream. There's assignments. I love this. And I don't have to pay for it. I don't have to pay anything for it. I'm just going to show up to this podcast. Yes, my friend. Yes. Because it's something that I love to do. And so I just absolutely love this little moment on Thursdays where I get to come in here and teach and encourage and sharpen and steward and do all the things with you. Okay. But there you are. And then the series ends. And let's just say that last week was the last episode that I devoted to this How to Go From Dream to Do series. And I said to you, okay, now you're going to create your checklist and you're going to get going. Amen. End of story, right? First of all, this is a podcast. How much can I really check on you to ensure that you made progress? And for that part, like, how do you access accountability? Like, you have all this information and you have a workbook that tells you what to do. So you basically have the what. But you probably, I'm gonna guess that when you started working through the workbook, you might actually have more questions now than what you started with. Because what you might find, which is what I know about my girl and what I know about where I was at, was when you tell me the what, it makes me start to realize how much I really don't know or don't have. And I will use that as an excuse for not starting. And so the saddest thing that happens is you get this free podcast series and this free workbook and all this help, and you feel like you're doing something, but then you get to the end and they're like, okay, go out and change the world, go out and build your thing. And you're like, hold on a second. What do I do now? You know? And so because I've started noticing that about my community, what I've started doing is bookending any series that I do by going back to the beginning and reminding you of what our goal was. What was our intention? What did we want to do? You probably came to the beginning of this series because you want to build something. You're like, and it could be a number of different reasons, right? For some of you, you're like, I have to make a paycheck from home. Like, I have no other options. Listen, sister, I know we're all godly girls around here. I understand that the trad wife situation has made it to feel like we can't even talk about the fact that some of us need to make a paycheck. Do you understand? Like, but I'm not here for that. I'm not here today to talk about roles and who is more naturally equipped to be the provider. We have real life going on. And for some of us, it's like, you know what? I've got to make a paycheck. And so for some of you, you came to that series because you were like, I need to know how to get this idea that God has given me and that's in my head and my heart and get it out of me and get it going so that I can actually produce with it, because I need cash money dollars in my bank account. Erica, can we do that dream to do? And I would say, absolutely, we can. And the system, the 3 simple steps that I showed you, they actually work if you work them. But what I'm realizing is that my girl, and you might be like, I just want to feel fulfilled. I don't necessarily need to make the paycheck. It's just, I know that this is something God's calling me to do and I'm not doing it. And year after year, it's just clipping away. And I'm like, am I ever gonna do this thing? Am I ever gonna feel fulfilled in this thing that God has called me to? Am I ever gonna produce in this thing? And I feel you. But here's the thing, sis. You can just as easily get stuck in the visioning and planning and dreaming cycle after doing a series like How to Go From Dream to Do, just as easily as before if you don't actually move into action. And so I've decided that whenever I do a series like this, we're going to come back to the beginning and I'm going to be like, here's how you get into action. And I've actually started creating additional content and opportunities for women who want to actually move into action and they need a little bit of help. So here's the deal. For this one, I created a workshop. It's going to be happening on Friday, May 16th. It's going to be a half-day live workshop with myself and a few of my godly girlfriends who are running kingdom businesses and ministries online very successfully right now, okay? And I'm going to put on this workshop where I am going to actually walk everyone through, alongside my sisters, we're going to walk you through the 5 building blocks. Okay, we're going to go deeper into the what. We're going to go deeper into what you actually need to do. And with each section, with each of the 5-point framework that we're going to talk about, those 5 building blocks, you are going to get at least 1, if not 2, very actionable steps that you can take immediately after leaving the workshop. And like, you're going to have another like worksheet where you say, this is what I'm going to do. This is when I'm going to do it. This is how I'm going to action this. This is what it looks like for me. And we're going to take you a step further, because here's the thing. A podcast, it can't give you accountability. It just can't. Podcast is one-way traffic. Even if you get on my live stream and you're watching me live and I see the comments, going by and stuff, right? Like I can see here and I can see the live chat and stuff. But even if you do, it's very hard for me to stop in the midst of this and give you any kind of thoughtful feedback. It's like if you commented in my feed and you were like, look, I would love to do that step that you just said, but here's my hurdle, and it's a mindset hurdle, let's say, or it's a very practical hurdle. Either way, there may be some very specific feedback that I can give you as a breakthrough coach, some very specific step-by-step advice that you could action, and it could get you could get you right over that hurdle. But I can't do that in a live stream. I can't do that. I don't have the ability to be like, hey guys, can you wait a second? Let me do that. But when I come into a workshop and I'm doing some of the sessions, and then my friends are doing some of the sessions, and we're very focused on the topics at hand, you have a Q&A box. You can drop your questions in anytime you have a question. And then at the end of the session, 2 things. Number 1, we're going to have a full panel Q&A where you can ask any question, and all of us who are on the call can bring all of our expertise to bear. And we've all been there. None of us is like so far beyond starting up that we forget what it's about to actually be like, how do I get this going? How do I get this going consistently and get cash money dollars flowing in? Like, how do I do that? We all remember that piece. So having that panel. And then also I'm going to have 2 very practical solutions for you at the end of that workshop, that if you're like, okay, Erica, this was great, but I still need X and Y, I'm going to be like, I got you. So a workshop where I can interact with you more, and where there's actually going to be a community on the workshop. So when you set up your webinar for a workshop like that, there is an option to shut down the comment section, to shut down the chat. And in so many of the webinars that I've been to, I know the leaders, we talk and they're like, I just shut down the chat. I don't want anyone chatting in there. I only want them focused on what I'm talking about. I don't want them getting distracted. And I'm like, listen, like, you need to let community build. You need to let people hear one another and experience the other. And they're like, well, what if someone random gets on in there and starts saying crazy things? I'm like, that's why you have a co-host. You just have someone who starts banning people or kicking them out of the Zoom. But the value to getting on a webinar and seeing other people's engagement and conversations and comments and questions and things like that, it's priceless. And then the ability to interact with the ones who are facilitating, I think, is super important. And you can't get that on a podcast. So I am going to talk to you at the end about the details of that. So stick with me if you want to know. But here's the thing. I wanted to talk to you about, I want to show you why you probably need something like a workshop. Why it's, why for you and me, it's not enough. I know we think to ourselves, I can just YouTube it. I'm like, you're savvy. You are so savvy, sister. You're so scrappy. Like one of the things that I love about my community is, we lovingly, our team lovingly are scrappy girls, our scrappy dogs, our scrappy puppies, because like I'll put up a sales page for something. I'll put up we'll open our membership. I have a mentorship, a discipleship mentorship for business and ministry, online business and ministry owners called the Jesus Girl Gang. It's faith-based. And so we'll open it. We open it just a few times a year, and we'll open it for a short period of time, and then we'll close it, right? So we tell people it's open for 7 days, for 10 days or whatever. Here's a sales page. Here's a webinar to learn more about it, figure it out, right? Inevitably, we shut it down. We redirect, we close down the buttons, all the things. Can I tell you something? Every single time in the 6 years that I've had this membership, I'm not exaggerating. Every year, every single year, someone finds a workaround. Like someone finds like a naked checkout link, like someone from our community had some kind of like backdoor link. And so they're not even going through the sales page. They just have this naked link that brings them to the checkout page, and they're like, oh, I can get it. And so they get it. And then we have these people like popping up in our membership, and I'm like, who is Cindy Sue? Who is Sally Joe? Like, who is this girl, right? And inevitably, we track it all the way back down, and it's like, oh, they found a back door. So I know about you and me that we're scrappy, that we are resourceful, that we are audacious, that we are self-starters, that we're ambitious. And so a lot of times we'll go, you know what? If I need to do it, there's got to be a way. I'm not going to sit here and think like, oh, I'm just stuck in my boat here and I can't get moving. If I can't get wind in my sails, I'll find a motor. I'll find some paddles. I'll do something, right? That's you and me. Yeah. But here's the thing. When you start to go out on YouTube, or you start to look at, the free resources that are out there, you look at the blogs, you read the articles, you do whatever, you start to get more and more overwhelmed, right? And so there are some things that I think that for girls like you and me, we need something like a workshop or like an interactive experience. And I think that there are 3 reasons. Number 1, I'm going to tell you a hard truth first. Are you ready? If you need to put your hand on your heart, put your hand on your heart. Take a sip of your cozy drink. Listen, my girls call me the hammer. I love, but I believe that sometimes we just need to hear the truth in love, but sometimes, it's hyper mercy to keep on just letting, if you have permission into someone's world and they're like, look, I want you to tell me when I'm being crazy. I want you to tell me when I'm being wild. And then you just keep on just being a sounding board for the wild. I want to encourage you like that. Stop doing that. Especially if they've given you permission to speak into their world. They want the truth. And this is the truth that I want to share with you. If you could have started by yourself by now, you would have started by yourself by now. I know this myself. I know this is part of my story. There have been multiple times in my journey when I had to come to terms with the fact that if I could have started by myself, I would have already done it. And that means that I probably need other people. I probably need something else. I probably need something else, because here's the thing. You're not lazy. You're just multi-passionate and busy. You're not lazy, sister. It's not about effort. It's not about you being like, I just need to buckle down, right? I just need to find the time. I just need to set my priorities better. No. You are so good. You are such a multi-passionate, able to do all the things kind of girl. Okay? It's not that you're not lazy. You're not. It's just that you've got a lot going on. And sometimes when you are in that kind of a lifestyle, you have to realize that it might be better for you to spend a couple of dollars to get the acceleration on the process, the proven plan, the strategy, the system, the accountability, the coaching. Sometimes it's worth it. In fact, a lot of times it's worth it to spend the cash money dollars to get that so that you can save your sanity. Do you hear me? That's the deal. Because here's the thing. If you could have started by yourself by now, you would have started by yourself by now. So you've got to start to ask yourself the question, like, do I really believe that I need to do this? Because if you do, then I want you to engage in some sort of an environment like a workshop where there's some accountability and some coaching. Why? Because the other thing I know about you is that you value commitments. Your word is solid. And so if you say, okay, look, I'm going to spend these dollars and I'm going to put this on my calendar, then it's very likely that most of you will show up live. But even if you can't show up live, like if you're like, okay, I can't, like I've got something else going, you will put the replays on your calendar. You will. I know that about you. So it's like, you're not like that's another example of how like you're not like you're not lazy. You're not just like flip. You're not just like whatever. Okay. And the fact that you value commitments and you value putting things on your calendar, let's use that to your advantage. So, I think the only thing that could work against you here is if you are not convinced that this is something that you need to do. If you're still stuck in that mindset that's like, it's not really a priority the way that X, Y, and Z over here are a priority, then sister, you got to do that mindset work. You've got to understand. Like I did, I'm trying to think if I did it here. I think I might have done a podcast episode about it. But in the Proverbs 31 woman, in that passage, it highlights 5 different pillars of purpose inside of that woman. And the 5 pillars of purpose are godly daughter, a wife, a mother, a sister, friend, and a kingdom bringer. And you have to understand that when you're called, these are all parts of who you are and who God made you to be. And no one of those things is necessarily more important than the other. That doesn't mean that during different seasons of your life, certain ones of those won't be highlighted, or you won't be working primarily on one or more of those more than others. But you've got to come to terms with the fact that when God made you, he made you as this complex and multifaceted woman. And you have all of these different facets in you of daughter, wife, mother, sister, friend, kingdom bringer. And if you keep on telling yourself that the work that you do to bring the kingdom, to do the great commission that Jesus gave us, like in Matthew 28, if you keep on convincing yourself that that work is less than your purpose as a wife or as a mom, sister, you have to work that out. It's not biblical to think that way. I need you to understand that. We hear people go all the time, oh, well, my marriage is my first ministry. I challenge you to find a scripture that tells you that. I'll wait. Because I looked. Your first ministry is to God and to what he tells you to do. Jesus said, I only do the things that I see the Father and hear the Father telling me to do. I do what he tells me to do, what he has given me purpose and power to do. That's what I do. And if it's in this lane of my personality, I do this. And if it's in this lane of my personality and this lane of my personality, right? But I don't get to decide like, oh, well, you know what? My wife purpose is more important and more priority. I think that relationships are the pinnacle. I mean, I think that when you read the Bible, you realize he says, look, love the Lord your God with all your soul, strength, mind, all your things, right? And then the second is to love others as you love yourself. And Jesus even said, love them as I've loved you. And so he sets us up to understand that relationships are most important. But here's the thing. If you are shutting down your kingdom purpose, your kingdom bringing part of your purpose, because you think, well, I need to get better at my wifing and my parenting, if that's what God is telling you to do, by all means, do it. But if you're doing that because you think, well, if I shut this part of my personality down, I'll get better at this. Can I tell you something? I can tell you about 100 examples of where the Lord has made me a better wife and a better mom through developing my skill sets and my giftings in my kingdom purpose, in my kingdom bringing purpose. Like I could tell you like 100 examples of it. So until we start to understand that our first ministry is to the Lord and to obey and to trust him and to do what he says to do, then you're going to have a hard time prioritizing this kingdom bringer part of your personality and of your purpose. And that's when I say to you, are you meant to build an online business or a ministry? Is that what God has put on your heart? Are you meant to write a book or a blog? Are you meant to start a podcast or a Bible study? Are you meant to gather a community? Are you meant to do any of these things? Because that's a kingdom bringing purpose. That's something that the Lord is putting through you to do the Great Commission, to bring the kingdom. And if you keep on thinking that's not as important as these other areas of my purpose, well, then you're never going to invest in that part of you. And nothing that I'm telling you is going to help you. So in the beginning, that might be a reason for why you haven't started. But I'm telling you, if you can at least say, no, this is something that's important. God put it in me. And if he put it in me, then he wants me to do it. And I do believe that the time is now. Then I'm telling you, sister, if you would have started on your own by now, you would have started on your own by now. Okay? So now it's time to get into an environment where you can get some community, some coaching, and some accountability and some acceleration. Okay? So that's number one. Number two, the number two reason why I think that you probably need something like a workshop to get moving, if you haven't gotten moving yet, let me tell you why. Just because, have you guys ever heard like the little stories about like, I asked God for a cake and he gave me, or I asked God for a house or something and he gave me tools. I asked God for a cake and he gave me the ingredients, right? Just because God gave you a vision for a business or a ministry doesn't mean that the business or ministry is just going to fall down from the sky in your hands. And something that's a little bit more complicated, but it's equally true, is listen. Come. Just because God called you to a particular business or ministry, a particular project, doesn't mean that you already have the giftings and skill sets. Well, you have the giftings, but doesn't mean that you already have the skill sets and the resources baked in. You have like the gifts. He built you with the gifts. He built you with those things. But here's the thing. What we don't realize as Christians sometimes, we think, oh, I'll just pray and my gift will carry me. Now, listen, the Bible says that your gift makes room for you. That's called opportunity. Do you understand? Your gift makes room for you. That's what the Bible says. And the Bible says that it'll bring you before kings. It'll bring you into important rooms. It'll make possible moments for you. But you still need to develop skill sets and capacity, and you still need resources. And so it's like that idea about the cake. It's like you ask God for a cake. He's not going to generally drop a cake down out of the sky. He's going to give you a way to get the ingredients, right? You could go to the store. I need money for that. Lord, give me money so I can buy the ingredients. Lord, I don't know how to make the cake. Okay, well, there's this thing called Pinterest, and you can type in there, and it'll give you an ingredients and a method for making it, right? And so sometimes God's like, okay, here's the idea, but you're going to have to go and get the resources, go get the skill sets, go get a plan, go get the ideas that you need to make this happen, go get the help, go get the accountability. Does this make sense to you? So just because he's given you this vision and this great thing that he wants to build with you, and that is gonna serve him, it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be incredible, sister. But just because of that doesn't mean that you already have everything that you need. You're gonna have to pray, absolutely, but you're also gonna have to skill set up, and you're gonna have to ask the Lord, how does he want to resource and equip you? And how do you do this thing? And for that reason, I think a workshop is a really great place to start. Okay? Now, I want to just tell you, stop beating yourself up for not knowing all the answers. It's another thing that I know about us is that we will sit around. I've done this. I've done this in the last few weeks. Like I should be further along. I should know better. I should be able to do this. And, my husband will be like, Erica, you did it for the first time last week. and you're acting like you should have like the expert badge in it. And I'm like, well, yeah, because I got God on my side, right? And it's like, yes and no. Like, you've got to give yourself a break. Stop beating yourself up for not knowing everything right now and for not having all the skill sets and the resources that you need on hand right now. Like, God puts the lonely in families. And I know that a lot of times we want to think about that as an emotional statement, and because lonely is an emotion, but also consider lonely being like, you had no one to apprentice you. You had no one to teach you how to build that thing. You had no one to teach you the shortcuts. You had no one that you could network with to get into the right rooms, right? Or, you're like, I can't figure out the tech stack. I can't figure out like the technology that I need to be able to do that thing. And like, how would I make that automate? How would I get that out to the people, right? Like you didn't have that, but God puts the lonely in families. And so this workshop that I'm going to put on is like a little family of sound making sisters and generational breaker girls and godly girls of purpose that want to change the world by bringing this thing forward that God has put in their heart to build. And so, you don't have to feel bad about not having it all and not knowing it all. And, I've spent some good dollars in the last, 14 years learning all the things that I know about online marketing and business and ministry and connecting with people and authentically forming relationships online and how people learn best online and how to get people to break through online. So like, understand, like, it's okay. You're not meant to know everything all at the front. Okay. Number 3 reason why I think that a workshop might really be your next best step. Listen, it's wild out here in these internet streets as a Christian girl. I don't know if you've realized, but if you are like thinking that you want to start a kingdom business or ministry, something that is going to bring glory to God and good to people, you want to serve with a heart to serve the Lord through the service or the product that you're offering to people. If you want to take care of people well, if you want to see good things happen through what you're building with God, and you go out onto the internet and you start just looking at like what the worldly ideas are when it comes to building your thing online and marketing it. Sister, can I tell you, like I said, it's wild in these streets. You absolutely want someone who believes, not only is familiar with the word, is in it every day, like every strategy, every principle is brought through this. We test it through the word. We make sure that, is it a kingdom principle? Is there scripture for it? Did Jesus do it? Did he give us an example? I was teaching in my mentorship community this morning, and we were talking about how you define success in the kingdom for business and ministry. And I was taking them through chapter 6, where Jesus's disciples are piecing out because they're like, this is a hard thing. How can I accept it? And Jesus is having his disciples leave. So bottom line is, if you're thinking that your success is calculated based on the number of followers you have, the number of subscribers you have on your email list, listen, I would encourage you, get inside of a mentorship, get inside of a community where kingdom principles and biblical perspectives are what rule. Because something that's taking our community out, what's taking some sisters out, is this concept of social proof. And I abhor it. I understand that it's good to get some feedback from your ideal customer or client or student or donor about how they would like to see something, how they'd like to see something delivered, or how they'd like to see it on a website. How would this be easier for you to pay for it? What kind of delivery system would you like to see? How long do you have, right? Like, these are things that we can ask our potential customers, clients, students, donors, so that we can help their experience to be better. But what I see out here in these internet streets is people saying like, you shouldn't build anything until you have significant social proof from enough people that they'll buy your thing. That is in direct violation to this. That'd be like Jesus rolling into the earth and being like, let me do some focus groups. Let me do some test groups and see who's buying my mission about repent and turn, back to the Father because the kingdom is at hand, and believe on me and you'll be saved. Like, let's do some focus groups. Because can I tell you something? Those focus groups wouldn't have gone well. They killed him, remember? So you don't want to put yourself in that situation. But if you are continually saying to yourself, oh, well, it's okay. I've got the Holy Spirit. I'm led by God. So I can go into these secular programs and I can eat the meat and spit out the bones. Can I explain something to you? The devil is so savvy these days in the online space that he will have you nevering like you've never thought you would never before. I know that there's a whole meme about God. When you say, God, I would never, and he will have you nevering like you never, ever before. Let me tell you something. The enemy will do it. The enemy will do it to you. He will convince you that you have to. He'll convince you that you can't be successful if you don't. He'll convince you that you can't compete if you don't. And I got to tell you something, I'm doing just fine. I'm very happy with my level of productivity, with my level of connection and service, what I'm doing. I've got the well done of my Father in heaven, and I sleep good at night. And I'm helping lots of women to be able to do the same. And so I want to encourage you, do not, don't think like that you just like have to settle for some of these wild schemes that are out there. You don't. You want to be picky about who you learn from and who you sit with while you build your thing. Okay? There's so much comparison out there and so much compromise out there. There's so much about social proof out there. And honestly, sis, you've got to test fruit. You've got to test fruit. Okay? And so, like I said, I'm going to offer you right now a paid workshop that I'm going to be hosting on Friday, May 16th. If you're watching this after Friday, May 16th, I am sure that we've created it as some kind of a replay offer so that you don't have to miss out. So don't you worry. We've got you covered. Okay. But I know for right now, those of you who are watching live or watching before May 16th, I want you to know that this is a live workshop that's going to happen half a day. But listen, if you've not been with me long enough in the podcast, if you don't feel like you've had enough time to test fruit, because I just told you, you need to be testing fruit before you decide who to go on journeys with. You need to test fruit before you decide whose plans you're going to implement or who you're going to sit under their coaching and their training and whose communities you're going to become a part of. What are you going to be getting yourself into, right? So you got to test fruit. And if you feel like you haven't had enough time to test my fruit, then I want to tell you, I've got a free conference that's coming up with my women's ministry called Revive Woman. It's called Revive Woman Conference this year. It's called Behold. It's happening May 16 and 17. It's free. It's free. Okay. So if you need a little bit more time with me to see what my style is like and how I teach and how I preach and how I minister and how I help women to get past roadblocks and to get into the fullness of their purpose and to break through and to do the thing that God created them for in its fullness. So all 5 of those purpose pillars, right? How do I do that? Well, we've got a conference coming up that's free, absolutely free. So if you're like, oh, workshop, she said paid. I don't know if I'm ready to give her my dollars yet. It's fine. Like this, what I'm doing right now, sister, is absolutely something that general marketing experts would tell you not to do. They're like, you give one offer. You put one offer in front of your people, put one offer, have one click button, have them do one thing, right? I cannot do that. I need to know that you have a way to test my fruit. And if you're not ready to spend money and go to the next step in the workshop with me, the workshop will be there. Like I told you, the replay will be there. I would encourage you, if you have any inkling that you need to do this, get on the live because it's going to be better because you're going to get to ask your question live. You'll get to talk with us, we'll all be on that panel together and we'll answer your question live. It'll just be a better experience for you if you know. But if you know that you need to test fruit more first, then I'll encourage you. Join us for Revive Women Conference, May 16 and 17. You can go to revivewomen.org/conference. And like I said, it's free, virtual and online. Virtual and in person. Our in-person experience is happening in Tampa, Florida. So if you're close or if you want to be in Tampa during that time, I would say if you want an in-person ticket though, get them because we're going to hit capacity. We don't have a huge venue this year. I wanted to keep it small because of what we do at the end of that conference. We open up the microphones so that people can give testimony and can talk about what they're activated in and what they're going to do when they walk out of the conference. And so it's an interactive experience. And so I like to keep it small in person. I don't think I'll ever have 1,000-person big conference that I host because I value too greatly that ability to connect and to process and to activate. But there is an online experience and we have a group. So we get together. The group opened today, actually. So our girls are jumping into the group and getting settled in. And next week, we're going to do a boot camp. We're going to do a 4-day kickoff boot camp called the Made for More boot camp. And so if you really want to test more of my fruit before you step into a paid experience with me, sister, it's there. Go to revivewomen.org/conference. When you sign up for the conference for free, you're going to get into the group that's going to have the boot camp happening in it. You can then sign up for the boot camp to get the workbook. Get all the free fruit. It's good. But here's the thing, sister. If you know that your next best step is to get into the workshop that's happening because you know that you need to get going now, this month, that in May, this month, you need to get building, you need to get moving, you need to get to be productive, peacefully productive, not overwhelmingly productive, but peacefully productive, doing the things that you know are going to move the needle and getting you to a place where you can launch and you can actually see cash money dollars flowing into the bank account. Yeah. Actual, real productive fruit coming off of your business or ministry. I understand that in a ministry that's not about just you, but it's about the cause that you're raising funds for, right? But we want to get you being productive. If you know that you want to do it without compromise, if you know you want to do it without sacrificing your faith, your family, your health, or your sanity, then I want to invite you to join me inside the Jesus Girls New Entrepreneur Experience Workshop. Okay, that's happening, like I said, on Friday, May 16th, and it's all recorded, so you'll get lifetime access. So even if you come for the live, and then you're like, I need to access that again, then you can do that because you're going to have the recordings for that, and you've got a whole bunch of bonuses that go along with this ticket, okay? Me, along with 4 other Kingdom girlfriends who are very successful in their Kingdom businesses and ministries that they're running right now, they're going to come and they're going to teach with me as well. We're going to walk you through a 5-point framework. That's basically the 5 basic building blocks that we talked about in step 2 of the Dream to Do blueprint. And what I love is that we're going to give you at least 1, if not 2, actionable steps in each one of the 5 points that you can do immediately after leaving the workshop. It's going to be in the workbook as a highlight, write down the actionable step that this person told you, because we want to make sure that when you get to the end of the workbook and you have my action items, you know that you have 5 to 10 things that you can do in your business or ministry to move the needle today, that you can get moving. It's I don't know how to express enough that it's about that accountability, and it's about knowing what the best next step is and being able to do it and having that encouragement and the ability to ask questions so that it can be customized to you. So if we give you something in that workshop and you're like, okay, but how does this work for something like mine? You can type it into the Q&A box and we will give you an answer. Okay? So if that's something that sounds good to you, I want to offer you that. And like I said, there's other things that are going to come through this workshop. There are 2 things that even when we get to the end of a workshop, like what we're going to do, I know that people are like, well, I need a community to continue with, and I need a tech stack. I need help with the tech stack. How am I going to literally do these things online? And also, Erica, you got a community. Listen, on this workshop, I'm going to give you both of those solutions, options for both of those solutions. I am so excited about that. So we already have a community that you could totally join if this was the direction that you wanted to go in. And we just right now, like the last few months, have been putting together an all-in-one tech stack platform where you can do all 5 of the building blocks all in one place. And it's priced so beautifully. Like it's like a third of what you would pay if you stacked it yourself individually. You got all the different tech pieces and put it together. And so, but the only place that you can get access to these 2 things that I'm going to offer at the end of the workshop is if you come to the workshop. And that's not me being mean. It's not me gatekeeping. It's that I really believe that you need to experience the workshop and convince yourself that you will do the work and that it's worth paying the money to take the next step into that community or into that platform. Okay. So listen, the total new entrepreneur experience package plus the bonuses that we're going to be offering with that workshop on Friday, May 16th, it's valued at $785. But listen, the ticket is $47. Listen, I didn't stutter. $47. Okay. So if you go to ericapile.com/start now, there's a little page there that will show you everything that's included, like all the, what we're doing, when the time is for the session, what we're going to be talking about, what's included in your ticket. There's bonuses. So one of the things that you'll get is you'll get all the replays from the conference, from the Revive Women conference. You'll also get a discount coupon for the membership that I have, the Jesus Girl Gang mentorship community, so that we could continue together if you wanted to. So $100 discount off of an annual membership. And I'm going to be unveiling that new tech platform, that all-in-one tech platform. And I'm going to be telling you about a special price that I'm offering our members. So if you get into the membership community, you'll get access to this like really great price for the tech stack. So I know that's a lot, but here's the thing. If it's for you, then you're running for that website right now because this is all the answers that you've been looking for. The information, the action steps, the accountability, the conversation, the coaching, the community, the tech that you need. It's all in there. And so I want to encourage you to join me. If you know this is for you, join me inside the Jesus Girls New Entrepreneur Experience on Friday, May 16th. You can go to ericapile.com/start now to find out more information and to get signed up. Okay. So I really hope that I see you there. I just would love to go from the podcast over into something more connected, like this workshop where we can start to work together a little bit. So I hope that that's helpful. If you have any questions, find me on social or comment down below this video here on YouTube, and I'll make sure that we get back to you with any answers. Or find me on Instagram. I'm there all the time. Come and follow me on Instagram. I'm just at Erica Pyle, and we can have a conversation in the DMs. Okay, it's really me. So we can have a chat. So I hope to see you there. Go to ericapile.com/start now, and you can hop into the new Entrepreneur Experience Workshop with me on Friday, May 16th. All right, friend, that's what I have for now for you. Until next week, I pray that you have such an incredible week, and I'll be praying for you, okay? Pray for me as we step into our conference. We're just 2 weeks away, and I'm super excited to be hosting all of these women for Revive Women Conference 2025. If you want to jump in there with us, go to revivewomen.org/conference. Remember, our boot camp, Made for More boot camp, starts next week, May 5th, inside of our conference event group, and I can see you there for free. So one way or another, let's see one another, okay? I'll see you on the other side. Bye for now.